had to get my athletic greens since we're doing a nutrition webinar. Michelle, you happy? Welcome everybody. Got a great topic today and a great friend as our presenter today. Swap this for that. We're going to do some brand awareness. Michelle has been a great friend of myself and Chris and Tim and Adams Wealth Partners, Freeze Financial, Gentian. We've been doing this, gosh, for 2 or 3 years. And I'll say personally, she's helped myself and I know my dad learn so much just about nutrition and our personal journey towards getting healthier. And I'm so appreciative of that. So thank you so much, Michelle. And we've also had clients say the same thing. And I know the same for Freeze and Gentian as well. Michelle's been a blessing to us just in our journey through health and wellness. And then we, as our 3 groups, wealth management firms, the desire to do this really came from, hey, we want to do more for our clients than just the money stuff and managing money. Yes, that's what we do every day. The wealth part is very important, but the health part is just as important, if not more. And so we've really tried to put those 2 things together to be more of a value add and just do more life and more meaningful life with our clients. So thank you for being a participant today. We are going to do Q&A at the end. You can type in questions at the bottom of your screen throughout. Michelle normally answers those at the end. We'll facilitate those Q&As, make sure you get your questions answered. And then afterwards, if you want to connect with your financial advisory team to get in touch with Michelle for like a personal consultation and a journey with her, we're happy to facilitate that and connect you. With that being said, Chris or Thomas, either one of y'all want to say anything before we let Michelle get going?
Go ahead, Thomas. Would you like to say something first? Go ahead, Thomas.
Go ahead, Chris. No,
Okay, good.
I think you hit the nail on the head there, David.
Yeah, you did, David. I appreciate that. And our journey with Michelle has been wonderful. And we had Jim Poole on recently, even speaking about, mental health as well. So the key is it's about a whole experience in retirement. And what we love is having professionals. I mean, they're friends. We want that kind of sometimes gives short shrift to how much of an experienced professional she is in the industry, what she knows, what she brings to the equation. You're finding one of the top professionals here, and these swaps they may sound kind of cursory, but they are really, there's a ton of thinking behind them. We have a lot of conversations around the whys and really about how it's better for your family. Hey, listen, if you don't have this in the house, they're not going to eat it. Just little things like that are big. And she brings those to us on a consistent basis. But our dedication to you, like David had said, is to help you live a whole life. You don't have to participate in everything we do, but we want to give you the opportunities because we are introduced to some of the most interesting professionals that can have a massive effect on your life, even outside of finance. So David, I appreciate those comments too. So
Michelle's kind of a big deal is what we're saying.
She is. She really is. It's awesome.
Well, without further ado, Michelle, we'll let you go ahead and take the show.
Yeah, thank you so much. I hope everybody is staying warm today. I'm thrilled to be back with you. And today I'm talking all about simple swaps, which I'm really excited about because I think it's super practical information that you can start to implement into your home, into your family, like next time you go to the grocery store. So today is all about brand awareness. And this is honestly a presentation I couldn't give to you 10 years ago. Now is an awesome time to try and improve your health and well-being because the food companies, the household cleaning products, the beauty products are all listening and understanding that people want better. They want products with less toxins. They want products with less sugar. They want the dyes out of their food. The people have spoken and there are companies that are stepping up to the plate. So 10 years ago, I couldn't give you this presentation because the food companies weren't there. I literally tell people 5 years ago when I was health coaching, people would say, hey, I know crackers aren't great for me, but what's a healthy alternative? And you know what I would have to say? A rice cake. Go eat a rice cake. And a rice cake and a cracker are not the same at all. And that was like a really depressing answer that I had to give. But now the food companies are coming to the table, pun intended, with better options. And so today is all about how do I upgrade my this for something better? So I've got pictures of lots of things. I've got the names of these products. So I think you got the slides ahead of time, which is awesome. If you didn't, you'll get them after this presentation. And if it's even easier for you, just take pictures of the slides. So that way you have them on your phone next time you go to the grocery store. You can look for that product, look for the label, whatever the logo is. That way it makes it a little bit easier for you. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and share my slides. And I know you guys got the slides ahead of time, but I didn't include my pop quiz questions, so you didn't get the answers ahead of time. I want you to think about the answers in your head. It's just 3 questions just to get you started in the right direction of the way that we're going today. Again, my name is Michelle, and we'll do questions at the end. Okay, number one, how many food additives are approved in Europe by the European Union? How many food additives? Think about it in your head. 400, 800, 2,600, greater than 10,000. You ready for it? As of today, there are 400 food additives approved in Europe. So these are things like dyes, chemicals, preservatives that are allowed into the food to make them look prettier or stay on the shelf longer. Let's compare that to the FDA and what they have approved for use in our foods here in the United States. What do you think? 800, 1,200, 2,600, or greater than 10,000? How many food additives has the FDA approved as of 2025? Greater than 10,000 food additives. So the European Union and the FDA have completely different approaches when it comes to food additives. Just 50 years ago, there were only 800 approved food additives. And then over the last 50 years, we have crept up significantly. The FDA has a very relaxed approach compared to the European Union. What they do is that they say, okay, the preliminary research looks good. Let's throw it in the foods. And then if we find out later that it's not so great for us, we'll pull it out. Compare that to the European Union and many other countries around the world. They take a much more conservative approach and they say, we need the data to show beyond reasonable doubt that this product is good for you before it's allowed into our foods. And unfortunately for us here in the United States, that puts a lot of pressure on us as the consumer. That means we have to study this stuff. We need to know what these funky words and chemicals at the end of the ingredient list in our foods mean. And then we have to decide, do I want this product or not? Is there a healthier alternative or not? It takes so much time and research and effort versus if we could just trust that the foods that are being produced have our health in mind, that would be much simpler for us. But unfortunately, that's why I'm here giving you this presentation, right? Last question, true or false, Kellogg's makes different versions of their products for stores in the US versus Europe. And knowing what you know now about the additives, you probably know the answer to this, and the answer is true. So they are sending a different version of Fruit Loops to Europe versus here on lots of different products. The European Union is much stricter about food dyes specifically. So think about yellow 5, yellow 6. We have red 40, red number 3 just became illegal in the United States. That's a huge win. Unfortunately, we're going to still see it in our food products for the next 3 years. So they have 3 years to pull it out of their foods. The food companies do. Europe, they do allow food dye in their products, but if you use food dye in your product, you have to put a warning label on the front of your product saying contains yellow 5, contains yellow 6, whatever it is. And that's because there are negative side effects and consequences of dyes. But here in the US, it's a free-for-all. Think about the foods that are dyed too. They're specifically most of the time geared towards our kids. So our kids are getting loads of food dye here in the United States, unless us as the parents are doing a better job of reading the nutrition facts label and saying, no, I'm not bringing this in my house and leaving it on the shelf at the store. So today we're going to talk about some of those food additives, food chemicals. We're going to go through the top 5 food chemicals that are allowed or sprayed on our food today. And then we're going to talk about what foods that are commonly found in our own pantries and refrigerators that have those chemicals or preservatives. And then what are healthy swaps. So just a little summary of everything I talked about. What is a food additive? It's a substance added to food to preserve its flavor, make it look prettier, change the color, change the texture, make the oil and the water mix together, make the shelf life good through the zombie apocalypse. You've heard me say that before. If the expiration date on one of the snacks or food products in your pantry is like 20 years from now, 15 years from now, 12 years from now, it maybe should not be in your pantry. We maybe should leave it on the shelf at the grocery store. We need to be wondering what is in that food that's going to keep it good for the next decade. All right, we should be questioning that. I mentioned previously, back in 50 years ago, 800 foods had only been approved for use in our foods by the FDA. Fast forward, now we've got 10,000 food additives that are approved. So those are lots of different chemicals, dyes, preservatives that are in our food that are linked to, many of them, linked to negative consequences, yet the FDA continues to allow them in our food. The European Union has pretty much stayed steady at roughly 400 over the last 50 years, and they continue to scrutinize the food chemicals and make sure that they are doing right by their citizens by making sure that those do not cause harmful side effects before clearing them to go in the food. Okay, So let's go into the top 5 chemicals that are most used in the US but are banned elsewhere. Elsewhere meaning somewhere else in the world, another country somewhere else, or multiple countries have banned the product, yet we continue to allow it in our food today. The first being potassium bromate. So these are chemicals that I want you to familiarize yourselves with so that you can look at the ingredient list and you can see if a product has that in it, you know, okay, I think I'm going to buy something else. I'm going to choose something different because of the negative side effects associated with that. So potassium bromate, it strengthens dough and improves bread texture. Okay, it makes, think about King's Hawaiian rolls. They're soft, they're fluffy, they're white. You can thank potassium bromate for that. Unfortunately, it's linked to cancer, nausea, vomiting, headaches, and irritability. And it's found in lots of white bread, burger buns, bagels, flatbreads, pastries. If you're a carb queen or king like me, I love carbohydrates. Like I could live on King's Hawaiian rolls and bagels. But unfortunately, I've learned to tame that and try and opt for healthier alternatives. But man, I know a King's Hawaiian roll is hard to resist, and you can thank, again, potassium bromate for that. So let's look at this, simple swaps. This is how this presentation is going to go for the next 4 additional chemicals. If you are a frozen pizza fan, not just calling out DiGiorno here, but lots of different types of frozen pizza have this potassium bromate in it to make that dough rise, be fluffy. We all know that crust and we all love it. I get it. A healthier alternative, you can go to Whole Foods and buy this naked dough. Okay, it's much more lower in carbohydrates. If you look at the ingredient list in DiGiorno frozen pizza, it's got about 30 things in it. You look at this naked dough, it's got about 6 things in it. So yes, the taste is different, the texture is different, but we are going for health here. We're going for health and longevity, and sometimes that comes with sacrifice. So you guys can make that choice. Do you want to sacrifice your health for immediate satisfaction from pizza? Or do you want to focus on health and we make a slight sacrifice in taste and go for longevity? Hostess donuts. I don't have a great swap for Hostess donuts or a donut replacement, but the Simple Mills brand of products is doing an amazing job with they've got cake, they've got cookies, they've got muffins, kind of in a pre-made box, and you add oil and an egg and you can make these muffins. They're really good. There are no crazy chemicals, very, very simple ingredients, just as the name suggests. I have to give her a shout out. The girl that started this company, her name's Caitlin. She actually graduated from UNC Chapel Hill a couple years ahead of me, and she was an exercise and sports science major. I didn't know her personally, but I love what she's done. Her products have made it into Costco, all big box grocery stores. It's incredibly impressive, and she's doing a great job. So pretty much all things Simple Mills get the check mark from me. Doesn't mean that they are 100%. I guess you could say they still have some sugar in them, but they are much cleaner when it comes to chemicals and preservatives. All right. Wonder Bread, you've heard me say this before, a nice substitute for that is Ezekiel bread. Again, if we are looking for a Wonder Bread that tastes and looks and feels like Wonder Bread that's healthy, unfortunately, you're not going to find it. Ezekiel bread, whether you buy the sesame, the wheat, the cinnamon raisin, it's going to be a different texture. It's going to be a little bit more dense. It's not going to be nearly as white. But again, we're going for health and longevity here. And I really encourage you, don't buy it one time, have one piece and say, this is terrible and throw it away. Give it an honest effort. Try and get through the entire loaf. And I bet you by the end of the loaf, you've changed your taste buds. You've really adjusted your body and you learn to appreciate that bread in a different way. There's those darn King's Hawaiian rolls. I want them to be healthy. I really, really do. But unfortunately, they have that potassium bromate in it. Their shelf life is about 3 months. We should be wondering why those King's Hawaiian rolls aren't growing mold after 3 months. Okay, that is a brain scratcher. What in the world is in those King's Hawaiian rolls that are keeping them good on the shelf for 3 months? I have a wonderful homemade option. It's got about 6 ingredients in it. You've got cassava flour or arrowroot flour. You've got almond flour, apple cider vinegar, eggs, water, salt. I think that's it. And you can make a homemade version of a bun, or if you want to do sliders or breakfast sandwiches, reach out to me if you want that recipe. It's a very, very simple. There's no yeast, so it doesn't have to rise for 24 hours. You just mix all the ingredients together and you bake them for 15 minutes. The Thomas English muffins, if you're an English muffin fan, we're going to ditch that potassium bromate that's in those English muffins, and we're going to go for that Ezekiel English muffin. Same thing as the Ezekiel bread, same company. Again, there's no preservatives in there, so remember that that needs to go in the fridge or the freezer. If you buy the bread or the English muffins, they stay good in the fridge for 6 weeks, in the freezer for 6 months. All right, and then all my Pepperidge Farm bread lovers, this is another option, or if you don't love the Ezekiel bread, you can try that base culture bread. It's actually a keto-friendly bread, or if you're struggling to keep your blood sugar down, or if you have type 2 diabetes, it's an awesome option for you because it's not going to spike your blood sugar. It has a very low glycemic index, which means it doesn't impact the blood sugar too badly at all. A base culture bread. Give that a try. Let's talk about the second one. Yellow 5 and 6. You may have seen in the news or on social media that a gal named Vanny Hari, she's actually from Charlotte. She calls herself the food babe on Instagram. She has been on a warpath to try and get dyes out of our food in the United States. And it is a great cause because there are some terrible side effects that are known regarding artificial coloring in our food, whether it's yellow 5 and 6, caramel coloring, red 40, the blue dyes. They are causing negative side effects in us and our kids, and yet the FDA continues to allow them in our food, in the foods that we're promoting to our kids. I'm specifically calling out yellow 5 and yellow 6 because there's research that's directly linked to hyperactivity, ADD, ADHD, and cancer. Okay, so this is something we want to take very seriously. Vanny Hari, to go back to her, she actually, and hundreds, if not thousands of people did a huge march outside of the corporate office of Kellogg's, trying to encourage Kellogg's to just put the same foods that they are shipping to Europe and shipping to Canada in the grocery stores in the United States. That's all she wanted. She got thousands of people to sign this petition. She's like, listen, we don't want this stuff in our food because of the warning label that's required on the front of the box. If you put any artificial colorings in products in Europe, Kellogg's makes a completely different product for over there. They don't use any artificial colorings, so they don't have to put the warning label on the front. So they make a product here in the United States that has no dye, and then they ship it to Europe while they make an additional product that's the same but has the dye in the products and put that on the shelves here in the United States. The goal is ultimately to get all the dye removed and just say, hey, look, that's not going to all of a sudden make Fruit Loops healthy. Okay, hear me when I say that. It's still full of sugar. It's a very ultra processed food. It's not going to all of a sudden make it just the same as broccoli, but it's one step in the right direction to getting rid of some of these harmful chemicals that are making their way into our bodies and the bodies of our kids. It's found in candy, Captain Crunch, Lucky Charms, bouillon, who would have thought, pickles, ice cream. Let's swap some of those products out. So my Mountain Dew lovers, and this is true for any soda, we want to swap a traditional diet or regular soda for the Zevia or Poppy line of soda. Okay, Zevia just recently upgraded their, or rebranded their, what is that called, logo. So Mountain Dew, now we're opting for Mountain Zevia. If you like Dr. Pepper, they have a Dr. Zevia. If you like Coke, they have a Cola. They have all the different kinds of soda, just a healthier version. There's no dye, and it's sweetened with stevia. That's the name, Zevia. It's finding its way into traditional grocery stores. You don't have to seek it out like you used to. You used to have to go to Whole Foods or go on Amazon. Now you can find it in almost any grocery store, which is awesome. So try that. And again, don't drink one and say, this isn't the same as my Mountain Dew, and chuck the rest. Give it an honest effort. Drink all 6, not in one day, but over the course of time, and your taste buds will surely shift to appreciate the Zevia, and it might not be exactly the same, but it's a much, much, much healthier alternative. Doritos, who knew that Doritos had yellow dye in them? Yeah, okay, so thankfully, again, we live in 2025 and we have a healthy alternative to a Dorito thanks to the Siete brand. So the Siete brand makes all kinds of healthy chips. They started with tortilla chips and then they branched out. They have a healthy Dorito, a healthy barbecue chip, a lime, a salt and vinegar. They're all roasted in avocado oil. So oil that's healthier for us versus the nasty inflammatory oil like canola oil or soybean oil. And they do have a Dorito knockoff. So the Siete nacho chips are a great option for you. Fruit Loops, for all my Fruit Loop cereal lovers, we've got Magic Spoon cereal, much higher in protein, much higher in healthy fat, and no dye in there. Again, it's becoming much more easy to find versus previously you had to find it on Thrive Market or Whole Foods, okay? Gatorade, for my Gatorade lovers, my Gatorade Zero lovers, we are going to upgrade Gatorade, traditional Gatorade, and Gatorade Zero. Hear me, no more Gatorade Zero. And we're going to Gatorade Fit. Gatorade finally gave us an option that doesn't have any artificial coloring and is sweetened with stevia. Traditional Gatorade has more sugar in it than a Coke sometimes, depending on the flavor. It has tons of dye. The Gatorade Zero has all the dye, but is sweetened with one of those nasty artificial sweeteners called sucralose. Gatorade Fit, sweetened with stevia and no dye, the two things that we need from Gatorade. So it's got all the electrolytes, but no dye and no artificial sweeteners. So that is a 1-for-1 substitute for you. My brother is the pickiest human on the planet, and he drinks Gatorade Fit. So that's a testimony to how easy of a substitute that can be for you and your kids. M&Ms. There's yellow dye in there. There's caramel coloring in there. Lots of different harmful chemicals in M&Ms, preservatives. One awesome substitute is the Unreal chocolate coated gem. So it's essentially a healthier version of an M&M. It still has sugar in it. That doesn't give you the green light that just because it doesn't have the yellow dye that you can go eat as many Unreal chocolate coated gems as possible. But it's just an alternative for you that you don't have to be exposed to the dye. It's still a dessert. We need to treat it like that. We can have a few at a time over the course of days, right? But if your kids like M&Ms, let's stop buying those and let's go for the Unreal version of M&Ms. Sunny D, for my Sunny D lovers. I know it's delicious, it really is, but it does have the yellow dye in it. So an option for you would be the Zevia, that same brand as the Mountain Zevia. They also have tea. So they have a Zevia orange tea sweetened with stevia. It's actually really delicious. They also have a Zevia sweet tea. So for my sweet tea lovers, that's an option for you too. So give those a try. If you have any questions on those, we'll do them at the end. Let's go into number 3. I've got a lot to get through today, you guys. So I'm sorry if I'm talking fast. I will get to your questions. I absolutely want to. The third is glyphosate, so also known as Roundup. This is not something that food companies are putting in our food, but unfortunately it's an active ingredient in many herbicides that our foods are being sprayed with. It is a known carcinogen. That means it is known beyond a shadow of a doubt that it causes cancer. There was a huge lawsuit that was unfortunately lost, well, I guess fortunately, by Monsanto, who's the company that produces glyphosate, because of all the non-Hodgkin's lymphoma that the glyphosate produced, and many of the workers that were working on these farms spraying this stuff all over our food. Okay, it's also linked to infertility and endocrine disruption, so disrupting our hormones, leading to infertility, and disrupts our microbiome. So that's the beautiful, supposed to be beautiful rainforest of lots of different types of bacteria in our gut. It's very harmful to that diversity and can create negative consequences when it comes to gut health. It's sprayed heavily on soybeans, chickpeas. Chickpeas are one of the most heavily sprayed with glyphosate foods on the planet. So I know we think about chickpeas as a good source of protein. They're high in fiber, they're complex carbs, but when you're buying chickpeas, we need to buy organic, so that we can make sure that they weren't sprayed with glyphosate. Anything organic is not going to be sprayed with glyphosate. So you know, if you're buying something that is certified organic, that's how you get around knowing that it was, or that's how you know for sure that it wasn't sprayed with glyphosate. Wheat, cotton, canola, corn, and oats. All right, so what are some things that we might have in our pantry that we can upgrade so that we know that it wasn't sprayed with glyphosate? Quaker oats. Very, American kitchen staple, sprayed with glyphosate. The organic sprouted oats, I even get these at Costco. Farmers We Know is the brand that I got. It's that exact bag, but anything organic is going to make sure it's not sprayed with glyphosate. Your Nature Valley granola bars, let's try the Kind bar, and it's specifically that kind. So the long, skinny, only 5 grams of sugar kind of Kind bar instead of the Nature Valley brand. That Nature Valley brand is full of wheat that's been sprayed and oats that have been sprayed with glyphosate. Your Ritz crackers, full of wheat, sprayed with glyphosate. There's that Simple Mills brand again for you, right? They're organic, so you know that they have not been sprayed with glyphosate. Kashi Go Lean cereal, full of oats, full of wheat that's been sprayed with glyphosate. So actually Kashi Go Lean is organic. So kashi choline not necessarily, depending on the brand that you buy or the flavor that you buy, shouldn't have to worry about glyphosate, but it's not nearly as healthy as we once thought it was. Kashi was kind of one of those first, like, oh, this is a healthy cereal, but it's packed full of sugar, and I would call it an ultra processed food. So I would opt for something like purely Elizabeth granola instead. So if you're using that kashi choline on your yogurt, maybe you're eating it as cereal, you can do a 1-for-1 substitute for either of those things with your purely Elizabeth granola. Cheez-Its, again, full of wheat, sprayed with glyphosate. The Simple Mills cheddar crackers are the knockoff of the Cheez-It, so a healthier version of a Cheez-It. Give those a try. Cinnamon Toast Crunch, we now have Catalina Crunch. We actually just bought this for the first time in our house about a week ago, found it at Costco, much healthier alternative, no dye, no preservatives. It's organic, so it's not sprayed with glyphosate, and it does taste pretty close to Cinnamon Toast Crunch, and it has no sugar. It's sweetened with stevia and monk fruit. So give that a try. Butylated hydroxytoluene, BHT, is how you would see it show up on the ingredient list of products in your home. It's an antioxidant commonly used as a preservative. So it's one of the ingredients responsible for keeping your whatever it is good for the next decade. Negative consequences, it's a known carcinogen. Hormone dysregulation, behavioral issues, kidney, that should say liver, thyroid damage, and then microbiome damage. So lots of negative side effects that come with BHT. It certainly is banned in many other countries, but unfortunately here in the United States, found in cereals, processed meats, granola bars. Excuse me. All right, so some simple swaps where you'll find BHT. That's what you want to be looking for on the ingredient list. It's not going to show up as butylated hydroxytoluene. It's just going to be BHT. They're going to slide it in right at the end of the ingredient list, hoping you miss it. Your Johnsonville breakfast links and patties, the sausages, it's going to have BHT in there. So Niece's country sausage, that's not a green light to eat all the Niece's country sausage you want. But if you're buying sausage, we want to have, sausage patties on Sunday for breakfast, no problem. Just upgrade the quality of sausage. Okay. Niece's country sausage doesn't have any preservatives in it, which is pretty great. Wheat thins promoted as a health food. They're wheat, they're complex carb. They got to be good for us. They've got that BHT in there. So another alternative besides the Simple Mills crackers, that's typically my first recommendation. My second would be the Mary's Gone crackers, another option for a healthier cracker. Cocoa Pebbles, swapped for 7 Sundays cereal. We also bought this from Costco a couple weeks ago. My kids are obsessed with it. I think there's only 1 gram of sugar per serving. It has about 7 real ingredients. You can pronounce all of them. It's a simple, more of a complex carb compared to a simple carb. So if your doctor has talked to you about your A1C or your blood sugar, it's a much healthier alternative compared to Cocoa Pebbles and no BHT. Hungry Jack, that says it on the box, real mashed potatoes. And then you look at the ingredient list and it feels like there's about 2 real ingredients in there, and then everything else is a chemical or something you can't pronounce. Also has BHT in there. So we're swapping that for something called Edward & Sons Organic Instant Potatoes. You can find those. Those are a little bit trickier to find. They might be at Whole Foods, Earth Fare, one of those more health food grocery stores. Hopefully they're going to make their way into the more traditional grocery stores soon. You can also find them on Thrive Market if you use Thrive Market. Who knew BHT, this preservative, was in something that we're putting on our skin? And a lot of times we forget that the products that we put on our skin also need to be checked for these harmful chemicals, because our skin is our largest organ. Our skin absorbs anything that we put on it, and right on the other side of our skin is our bloodstream. When we eat something, we actually have our liver to help us detox anything that might be in there. It's not the green light to eat anything that you want, because your liver can be totally overloaded by all these chemicals that we're being faced with. But when you put something on your skin, it doesn't have your liver to come to the rescue. It goes right into your bloodstream. We need to be thinking about our makeup, our shampoo, our soap, our face wash, our sunscreen. I know it feels so overwhelming. But again, I hope you leave here today with just some simple swaps, easy upgrades to help you just not even have to do the research. Just go ahead and make the swap, knowing that I promise you I have researched in depth about all the products that I'm recommending to you today. So Neutrogena Sport Face Sunscreen. Instead of that, we're going to Stream to Sea Water Sport Sunscreen. All right. BABO Babo. I think it's Babo. That's another one that's out there. That's the one I use on my kiddos, but that's a substitute for that sport sunscreen Stream to See. Trident gum also has BHT in it. I love the pure gum. They have bubblegum flavor, mint flavor, spearmint. You can get those almost anywhere now, so be on the lookout for those next time you go to buy gum. We're going to upgrade. Number 5, sodium nitrite. It's a preservative that's in our processed meats that makes sure that meat doesn't grow bacteria, which sounds like a really good thing, and it is. Unfortunately, the side effects don't outweigh the positives. There are other more natural things that we can add to our meats to help inhibit bacterial growth and maintain color. Sodium nitrite is just very cheap. So the negative side effects of sodium nitrate: cancer, heart disease, high blood pressure, ulcers and stomach pain, microbiome damage. It's found in any sort of processed meat. So when we think about meat and we've demonized blanketly the meat industry, I am all about demonizing the processed meats that have these harmful preservatives and chemicals in them. But when we say all meat is bad, that's just not true. Okay, it's more nuanced than that. We have to look at the quality of the meat. Where did that meat come from? What was the life of that animal like? What are the additives going into that meat before we just say meat is bad? These processed meats that you see on the left column of each of those columns, yes, absolutely, they are doing harm to our body. They've got this harmful chemical in there, sodium nitrates, that those animals were not given a great life. They were fed corn and soy, most likely to be as fat as possible, as quickly as possible. They most likely didn't have access to sunlight or the exercise. So when we think about meat, we have to take it all the way back to, and this is a little bit of a tangent from the sodium nitrite, but what did the animal that I am eating eat? So we've heard the saying, you are what you eat, but we got to take it one step further than that. You are what you eat eats. So think about it in the form of a cow. Factory farming, lots of these farms are raising cows indoors in a pen, feeding them corn and soy, which is not their natural diet, inside with no access to sunlight or exercise, trying to get them as fat as possible, as quickly as possible. So that, you can imagine, what if we did that to a human? That would be a very unhealthy human. That's an incredibly unhealthy cow. And then we slaughter it and we cut up the meat and we feed it to the masses. The quality of that meat, the nutrient density of that meat is incredibly different than the nutrient density of the meat of a cow that was allowed to roam in a pasture, eat grass, its natural diet, exercise, and have access to sunlight. So the meat from that cow is completely different when it comes to nutrient density compared to the factory farm meat. I'm off my soapbox now, back to sodium nitrate. So some of these processed meats, we're going one step further, and then we're on top of the poor life that the animal lives, the poor diet that the animal had, we're adding these preservatives to make sure that the shelf life is good, that there's no bacteria in there. So most bacon's going to have sodium nitrite in it, most hot dogs, most deli meat. Lots of pepperoni, unless you're going out of your way to buy something that's uncured and organic, Slim Jims, and some different types of smoked sausage links. Look at the ingredient list. It will be very clear, and it'll tell you if it has sodium nitrite in it. It'll be one of the very last ingredients. So healthier alternatives, anything Applegate. I love the Applegate brand. You can see it shows up 3 times on the slide. Applegate bacon, Applegate deli meat, Applegate pepperoni. If I'm making homemade pizza, I'm using the Applegate pepperoni. If I'm feeding my kids bacon, which I do probably twice a week, I get the Applegate bacon, or I get what is the name of the brand? It's actually from Aldi, and there's nothing added to it. It's just pork, salt, I think maybe celery extract, which is the healthier alternative to sodium nitrite. And then if I do eat any deli meat, it's the Applegate version. Okay. I love these Teton 100% grass-fed beef sausages. They're already cooked. I get them from Costco. I throw them in the air fryer for like 10 minutes, and that's my meal prep. I'll roast some vegetables, and that's what I'll eat for lunch a couple days a week because it's so quick and so easy. Lots of good protein, and it's a good quality beef sausage versus just eating a ballpark hot dog that's who knows what's in there. I also love the I think it's Amylu's, AMYLU's brand. They do a great job. They're all over Costco. They're in lots of different grocery stores. They have a lot of other additional pre-made meats. They've got meatballs and then sausage links that are very, very clean, lots of different flavors. My kids do love their meatballs, so that's a quick, easy dinner for when we're running late. They're already pre-cooked, so I just throw them in the air fryer and then add some Rayo's pasta sauce to them. And that's a super simple dinner. Okay, so we just got through the top 5 chemicals that are legal in the United States, illegal somewhere else, and I've given you lots of different swaps. Now I want to go into some of our lifestyle habits, some of the things that maybe we do in our daily routine, some of the products we have in our home, and show you some additional simple swaps there. You guys were given a PDF before this presentation on little simple swaps that you want to make in your life. So maybe it's late night snacking and you want to change that habit, or maybe snack on something a little bit healthier. Maybe it's that glass of wine at night. Maybe it's the coffee creamer that you know is terrible for you, but you keep doing it anyway because it's so good. So I want you to think about that as I go through these things. What are some things that you want to focus on this year? Small swaps. I want to do better for my family when it comes to my cleaning products. I want to upgrade my laundry detergent. So that's what we're going to go into now. And I hope this gives you a little bit of inspiration on healthy swaps that you can make that over time are going to go a long way. Maybe just it feels like, oh, well, what's the point of just making this one change over time? It's like that analogy of the ship. You're on a course, you're headed at 12 o'clock and you change degrees by 1 degree. It doesn't feel like you're very far from your original destination until you're a little bit down the road. It's the same concept here. Small changes go a long way as long as you just stick with it. Okay. All right. So we wake up in the morning and we're brushing our teeth. Have you ever put any thought into what might be in your toothpaste? Okay, I didn't for a long time. Not until recently was I aware of some of the ingredients that I need to be aware of in my toothpaste and the toothpaste I'm giving to my kids. Fluoride. For a long time, we thought fluoride was the way. It prevents cavities. Fluoride, fluoride, fluoride. Let's put it in the water. Let's soak our teeth in it for 10 minutes at the end of our doctor's appointment. And what we're realizing is that there's a direct link between fluoride and a decreased IQ. Studies are very clear on that. So the more fluoride exposure we have, the studies are showing the lower our IQ. So I would really recommend trying to buy a fluoride-free toothpaste, especially if you have city water. Your city water already has fluoride in it. So that's where we're getting an overabundance of fluoride. You can deny fluoride from your dentist and buy fluoride-free toothpaste and still have plenty if you're getting it in the water. Okay. And even there's an argument to be made that as long as you're not eating tons of sugar, you don't need fluoride at all. I actually recently got a water filtration system, reverse osmosis water filtration system for our house that's taking the fluoride out completely. My kids don't eat a lot of sugar. I've never had a cavity. My husband doesn't have any cavities. Cavities come from sugar. So if you're not doing that, then you don't need fluoride at all. So we've gotten it out of our toothpaste and out of our water, which I'm excited about. Stay tuned on anything else we see from our upgraded water. I'll report back in a few months. And then you can see a few other additional additives that are in toothpaste. And one quick note on titanium dioxide. So the EPA does know that titanium dioxide is incredibly harmful to our environment. And you're not allowed to use it in construction companies are not allowed to use it. You're not allowed to use it in any sort of product. Anybody that's building anything, you cannot use it. Yet it's still allowed in our food by the FDA. You can eat it, but you shouldn't touch it. That's essentially what we're saying. How does that make a lick of sense? I don't know. So anyways, titanium dioxide should be one of the things that you're looking out for in the ingredient list of your beauty products, your toothpaste, and your foods, because it's in Skittles. It's still in our foods. We use the Tom's fluoride free. I also have the David's. I don't love it as much, and I've never used Risewell, but they're all great, and they are all clean from the chemicals that you see on your screen right there. After you brush your teeth, maybe we're thinking about coffee. So we're kind of working through our daily routine here. Maybe you are not great about going to your water first. You wake up in the morning and you go direct to that caffeine. One habit that I would really encourage you to change this year would be go to the water first. Drink a minimum of 8 ounces of water and try to delay your caffeine intake to 2 hours after you wake up. And the reason being is that if you wake up and you go right to that caffeine, you are way more likely to have a crash in the afternoon. So that 2:30 feeling that you feel after lunch, some of that is in part to the fact that you woke up and you went right to the caffeine. So if you wake up at 6, if you can drink water until 8 a.m., you're setting yourself up for more consistent energy the rest of the day. So maybe that's you. Maybe that's your goal. I'm going to wake up, I'm going to drink water, and I'm going to delay my caffeine intake by 2 hours. And then when I go to have my coffee, I'm not going to reach for my International Delight coffee creamer. I'm going to upgrade to one of the amazing options that we are now provided with when you go to the local grocery store. The Chobani Sweet Cream, it does have a little bit of sugar in it, but as long as you're not having a little bit of coffee with your creamer, that's okay. Nut Pods doesn't have any added sugar, and they've got all the flavors: pumpkin, cinnamon swirl, caramel, French vanilla, whatever you like, they've got that. And then the super creamer, I love the super creamer, no sugar in there. It's keto and paleo friendly, really good for if you're trying to decrease your sugar intake, and it tastes delicious. And then if you just put straight sugar in your coffee, I really recommend trying the liquid stevia. So the powdered stevia a lot of times is cut with either sucralose or another artificial sweetener. Liquid stevia is pure stevia, and I think it personally tastes better. So give that a try. That one's from Trader Joe's, but you can find them online. You can find them on Amazon, just pure liquid stevia. Let's keep going. Maybe you know that you are guilty of sitting too much. We go from the couch to the table to the desk, and we're not doing enough standing. What we've learned recently is that sitting is the new smoking. You guys maybe even came to that presentation when I gave it. But the more standing and walking and activity that we can sneak into our day, the longer we live. The research is clear. So maybe that's what you're putting on your sheet. What is a habit I want to change? I want to sit less. I want to find ways to sneak more movement into my day, whether that's walking first thing in the morning for 10 minutes, investing in a standing desk or a walking pad. Maybe set a timer to go off on your phone or your watch every 60 minutes. It's like, hey, time to get up. We're going to do something. We're going to do a lap around the house. We're going to walk to the end of the street, whatever it is, trying to just incorporate more movement into your day. I love the GoWOD app. If you're unfamiliar with that, it's an app that will create a customized stretching routine for you. So it's really cool. You go through all this assessment at the beginning, you video yourself doing these different stretches, and then depending on where you're tight, they will create a custom stretching routine that you can do. And it's a video, you follow along, and it works on your own pain points. So even if you're struggling with something like back pain or knee pain, this would be really worth the investment. It does cost a little bit, but go through the assessment, see where your pain points are, watch those injuries fade, and you're sneaking more movement into your day. And then kind of the cliche, lastly, park far away. When you go to Walmart, park at the end, force yourself to walk. You're getting the sunlight exposure, getting more vitamin D, and you're getting your steps in. Detox your home. Okay, so maybe you know that you could do a little bit better with the chemicals that you're cleaning the bathroom with and cleaning the kitchen counter with, but it feels daunting. You don't know where to go. You don't know what products to upgrade with. Maybe that's the thing that you want to do this year. Maybe you want to just start to finish up whatever cleaning products you have in your house and buy something a little bit cleaner. That's a great goal. It's going to go a long way. The toxins that we find in products like Tide, even in Myers that promotes itself as a healthy cleaning line, Lysol, the Glade plugins. If I could give you one takeaway from this presentation that I know for a fact will update your health, is get rid of all your Glade plugins. All of your fake scenty stuff, whether it's the trees that hang in your car, the little things that clip on, the vent in your car, the Glade plugins, they are horrible. Horrible. I'm sorry, I'm being really harsh. They're terrible for your health, you guys. I'm sorry. I'm really passionate about that. My mother-in-law had a bunch all in her house, and I'd bring my little boy in there. They're endocrine disruptors. They mess up our hormones. They're leading to infertility. They're known carcinogens. We really need, as a society, to recognize how terrible these things are for our health. We're literally sucking them down, breathing them in, and they are disrupting our hormones, disrupting our endocrine system, leading to things like infertility. They're leading to weight gain, migraines, neurodegenerative disease. So really, I'm very passionate about this. Please use it up or just go unplug it and chuck it. Alternatives. We have healthy alternatives. Tide, we're going to Attitude. I love the Attitude brand of all soap, shampoo, laundry detergent. my everyday kitchen cleaner, if you're looking for something different. Aspen is a great brand, or you can buy the doTERRA Abode kitchen cleaner. It's a disinfectant. You just buy that little bottle. You buy like a glass bottle. You dump that little bottle of concentrate and then in the glass bottle, and you fill the rest with water. That's what I personally use. I absolutely love it. I've got 2 little kids. We're in cold and flu season. I spray that all over everything all the time, and I feel so good about it because I'm not spraying just harmful chemicals all over my house. I've got a 1-year-old. She's putting everything in her mouth, and to spray Lysol everywhere just gives me the heebie-jeebies because it would end up in her mouth. Okay, so I want something that's clean that I know if it ends up in her mouth and it's not going to harm her body. Swap your Glade plugins for something like Grow Fragrance, all essential oil based. So you can spray that around your house. It's going to smell wonderful, but it's not going to harm anybody that's in your house. Or you can diffuse essential oils. How am I doing on time? Okay, we're almost there. I love the doTERRA brand of essential oils, but there are other ones that out there that are wonderful. You just mix a little bit of essential oil with water and it diffuses into your home and it smells wonderful. I think it's way better than any Glade product or plugin that you could possibly buy. It just feels so much more natural and refreshing and is not going to give anybody a headache. Okay. Ditch the plastic. Maybe you know you're guilty of this. Your kitchen is full of plastic. Maybe you buy a case of plastic water bottles every time you go to the grocery store. I really would encourage you to change that habit this year. Whether it's plastic Tupperware, plastic cookware, or plastic water bottles, we are doing our best to try and start to get rid of the plastic from our lives. Not only because it's filling the oceans, but also because it's not good for our bodies. The BPA or BPA-like chemicals that find their way into the plastic that then leaches into our food or water are very disruptive to our endocrine system. That's our hormone system. So linked to weight gain, lead to cancer, lead to infertility. We want to do our best to go for anything that's glass or stainless steel. This is a shameless plug. I have no affiliation with Clean Canteen, so I don't feel bad saying this. This is my favorite Christmas gift. This is an all stainless steel water bottle, 20 ounces, even a stainless steel straw. Check that out with a silicone tip. Really, really easy to clean. It goes in a cup holder, which is something is a must for me. Anyways, I'm really loving it. It's the Clean Canteen brand. Yeti does a great job with their water bottles, but opt for something that's stainless steel that you can just refill. And then for all your leftovers, we're putting them in glass Pyrex, or if you're doing meal prep, it's going in glass. We're never, ever, ever putting hot food in plastic or putting plastic in the microwave. And then for our cooking utensils, we're using stainless steel or bamboo. Okay, so make that a goal for you this year. Maybe that's one upgrade that you want to do for you and your family. Try and move away from the plastic and upgrade to stainless steel and glass. Maybe your goal is to snack smarter, and here's some quick little upgrades. Jif peanut butter, we're going to Crazy Richard's peanut butter. Raisin Bran, we're going to a cereal called 3 Wishes. You can find that almost anywhere. Your ice cream, we're going to Halo Top. Your Chips Ahoy, we're going to Enjoy Life. And then your Dan & Light and Fit or Go-Gurt or whatever other sugar-filled yogurt that you love, we're going to something like Chobani or Oikos, no sugar added. I think a lot of us do a really good job at mealtime, getting good, whole, real foods at mealtime. And then when it comes to snacking, that's where we really struggle. Or maybe it's that dessert after a meal, that's where we struggle. And there are healthy options now that we can keep in our pantry, in our fridge, and in our freezer to help at snack time, make that snack more nutrient dense and it be less exposed to chemicals and preservatives. I'm going to keep going. I know I didn't spend much time there, but just take a picture of that slide or a mental note. Maybe your habit that you want to swap this year is drinking less in the evening, or maybe not drinking at all. Maybe you have this habit of every night after dinner or before dinner, we're having some sort of cocktail or beer or glass of wine. Let's change the habit. Let's just reach for something different. Maybe it's just the habit of having something besides water or coffee at the end of our day. I get that completely. So what I've done is I've switched to kombucha. I love kombucha at the end of my day. I love that GT's brand that's on the slide in front of you. Just something different. It's carbonated. I really enjoy it. I will drink it out of a wine glass, and that just makes me feel like I'm having something fancy and fun as I cook my dinner. Now they're also making these other fun non-alcoholic drinks that some of them have CBD or nootropics in them, which help us feel more calm. Some of them have adaptogens or mushrooms in them that also help us feel more calm. Nobody's going to go on a trip or anything like that when you have these, but it just helps you swap that traditional alcoholic drink with something that doesn't have alcohol, but maybe does actually settle the anxiety from the day or just make you feel more at peace. Recess, Moment, and Hi-O are 3 that are really popular right now. So you can go give those a try. Lastly, if you are a late night snacker, I've got a couple tips for you. So late night snacking isn't necessarily a terrible thing unless we're reaching for cookies and crackers and chips. It's the type of snack that we're eating that might be completely derailing us from overall health, that might be impacting our sleep, adding on weight. So you can upgrade your late night snack to something like celery with peanut butter. You can have blueberries or a small serving of nuts. You can change the habit. A lot of times it's the TV watching, and while I'm watching TV, I want to mindlessly eat something. So instead of watching TV, maybe we're playing a game with our spouse, we're reading a book, we're doing our stretch routine on the GoWad app, we're journaling, we're knitting, we're just having a habit change so that we're not just mindlessly eating as we watch TV. Or you do something like intermittent fasting and you put a hard stop on when is the last bite of food going to go into my mouth. I'm not going to eat past 8 p.m. I'm done. And it doesn't have to be 8 p.m. to 12 p.m. the next day. It could just be 8 to 8. I'm going to stop eating at 8 p.m. I'm not going to eat again until 8 a.m. Or just having some sort of hard cutoff for yourself that you know that all your food is done by a certain time so that you're not even tempted by food. You're just drinking your water or your kombucha, whatever it is. Okay, so we're adjusting the habit, we're opting for a healthier snack, or we're just putting a kibosh on the last the time of which we're going to eat our last bite of food. I think that's it. There it is. Okay, so we got to the end. We have a few minutes left for questions. If you guys have personal questions or questions on very specific products in your home, just email me, michelle@altitude-wellness.com. I'd love to answer those. If you have some general questions, let's do those now.
Michelle, we have some general questions as they came in. Thank you, by the way, wonderful presentation. There's a lot of swaps we'll make. Can I just swap my life out? And we'll talk about, actually, that's a more purpose thing. We'll talk about that later. I'm kind of messing with you as we go through, but I know somebody had a question about eggs. You didn't really look at the eggs alternative. Eggs are pretty common for people as well. Is buying the $9 eggs that are, grass-fed, buttered up way better than the ones that are in the store for 40 minutes?
Unfortunately, they are, Chris. I'm sorry to say that. And Costco, if you guys have a Costco near you, they actually do 24 pasture-raised eggs, I think, for $7.
Yeah.
That's a really, really good price for pasture-raised eggs. And you can see the nutrient density difference in eggs.
Yes.
Go buy the 98-cent eggs and then buy the $5 eggs. Crack 2 in a pan. One's going to crack before you even get it to the pan. The other one, you're going to have to give it a real whack. And then once you crack it, it's going to be a pale yellow versus a bright orange. And that's the depiction of the nutrient density difference.
That's huge. Just the same to buying organic meat. I used to buy Step 5 meat at Costco. I mean, at Whole Foods, and they would say, go to your regular grocery store and get like a rump roast. Go to there and get a rump roast, and then make gravy out of both without adding anything to it. He said the nutrient density. I was sitting next to the top organic food expert in the nation from the FDA or something like that, or from the government. And it was amazing. The difference in taste was amazing. Just eating the proper meat that's raised the proper way. So the question comes in: is making your own bread, like the 3-ingredient sourdough bread, a good idea?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. It doesn't give you the all clear to just eat as much of it as you want especially if you're on a weight loss journey or trying to watch your sugar. But as far as nutrient density goes, obviously you're not getting exposed to harmful chemicals. It's a much, much, much better option for you when it comes to bread.
Rock and I'll fight through these. So why is stevia considered a same, I don't know what it says, it's called considered a same sweetener when its processed as much or more than beet sugar?
So stevia doesn't impact the blood sugar. So that's why stevia is a good option for people that are maybe have a high fasting glucose, maybe have an elevated A1C. It has no glycemic index. So it's not going to create a spike in your blood sugar. And it is a natural alternative. I do understand that it is processed, and a lot of times it is cut with a different artificial sweetener. So if we can get the liquid version, then we're doing our bodies a favor. Beet sugar is a great alternative. It is more natural, but it is going to spike your blood sugar.
Also, monk fruit, I think you mentioned before, monk fruit sweetener as well.
No glycemic index there. So again, it's going to keep your blood sugar more stable compared to something like sugar, beet sugar, coconut sugar.
You're perfect. So there's one as well. Thomas, you want me to just keep going? Sure. So going fresh, says it's going fresh vegetables and fruits makes one have to use a cutting board. Concerned about the plastic boards, microfilms. I'm also concerned about the wood boards, potential bacteria. What's your opinion on stainless steel boards? I've used them, however, you don't get cut marks, but you kill your knives. Smiley the face.
You do kill your knives. You got to have a husband like mine that loves to sharpen knives. Stainless steel is a great option. I do have some wood cutting boards that we use. I would opt for, if you're going to go in order from worst to best, it would be plastic would be the worst, then wood. And you can, find a wood and oil it in olive oil, trying to keep it as slick as possible. Then you could do a stainless steel one. I don't actually have any stainless steel ones, but you could. I also have a granite one, but that kills your knives too.
Yeah, I do granite as well. Actually, I just use the granite on my countertop. My wife's on the phone, so she'll probably go, "Don't do that." But anyway, so one of the questions here, it's twice at the same time. Are EnviroScent plug-in air fresheners bad from Thrive? And what about Citrus Magic Room Spray? So you
I
basically
like the Citrus Magic Room Spray. I don't know the other one, so I need to look that up. If it's from Thrive, they do a pretty good job vetting their products, but that doesn't mean that we should just 100% go with it.
So generally just don't have the smells in a room. I mean, it just makes more sense to, it's not a great idea, period.
Truly, yeah.
Okay. So any concerns with stevia? And can we get a list of stores that carry these products? I know Costco's better than Sam's Club's, maybe also it's Costco, Trader Joe's, and Whole Foods are probably three of the stores that are great, maybe in your area. That would be
Yeah, I need to know that. It's hard being down here in North Carolina. We don't have the same like regular grocery stores. We have some of those with Walmart, but you guys have Stop and Save. What do you have?
Pick and Save.
Pick and Save. I
Piggly
still don't
Wiggly,
know.
Pick and Save. There's Metro Mart. There's a bunch of different ones around here in Milwaukee. I mean, what do you guys have down in Nashville there? Or I mean, what do you guys have up in I guess David would know. How about you guys in Nashville? Anything?
I think David dropped off.
Okay, no problem. How about this?
Yeah, we have Costco. So
Yeah. That's a good one. So we got 5 more questions. So what pans do you use to cook with? This is a big one in our house because all of our nonstick pans have kind of gone to the wayside. They stick now, so I imagine that's not good. But what is the best pan to cook in?
Stainless steel is the best. It's a pain in the butt to clean. I understand that. Get it really hot before you use it, and that'll make whatever it is that you're cooking stick less. I do also have a granite pan. It's like a rock granite pan that I use sometimes, and that one does a better job with less sticky. But stainless steel is the best.
All right. Did you say pan or Pam? I'm just messing with you. That's a whole nother skit. Sorry. My wife will laugh at that one. I knew that cooking with silicone was a no-no, but what about the silicone lunch boxes as long as they aren't used to heat up food?
I guess you're putting hot food directly in the silicone.
Yeah.
I would go stainless steel or glass over silicone.
Yeah.
Especially if you're if you're meal prepping and it's hot and then you're putting it in the silicone. I wouldn't do that.
Another one's quick. Frozen vegetables is the question. So it just says frozen vegetables, good for you. I imagine they're flash frozen. Are they reasonable?
Yeah. Frozen vegetables actually can be more nutrient dense than fresh, depending on how long the fresh vegetables have been sitting there, right? And as long as you're not nuking them in the plastic bag, boil them, do a double boil or something like that, or put them in a glass bowl with a little bit of water and microwave them that way.
Yeah, absolutely. There's another one that just said follow up, and that was the same client who asked that, which was, what if the food was chilled? That's a follow up on the silicone. Does that make a difference?
Oh, slightly. Yeah, slightly.
Silicone. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And then last one on this one is, hi, can you talk about erythritol? Thank you. That would be about it. And about the arsenic in brown rice.
So erythritol and xylitol are sugar alcohols. The jury was out on those. They were an artificial sweetener that companies were using. They're still using them. We weren't sure if they were healthy or not. What we figured out is they're not nearly as healthy as we hoped that they would be. They have no glycemic index, so they do not spike the blood sugar, but we're finding them getting stuck in arteries. They're leading to heart disease and high cholesterol and clogged arteries. So I would definitely minimize your consumption of those. The arsenic in brown rice, that's definitely a problem. I would say if you want to avoid it altogether, you can do black rice, which is also known as forbidden rice, or you can just not eat too much brown rice.
So one microwave's okay? Last question.
Microwaves just in general, are they okay?
Just a microwave's okay, question mark?
Yeah, I mean, in a perfect world, maybe you get rid of it, but it's just let's one battle at a time, right?
Yep. 2 quick ones for me. The air fryer, isn't your oven essentially an air fryer? This is my brother-in-law brought that up. It's like, so this whole air fryer thing, it's just like an oven on your countertop, which is quite funny, by the way. It's a circulating air and heat around food, which is what your oven does. So you kind of have an air fryer in your oven. Anyway, it's kind of great marketing. The other question is, I know, is LMNT. So have you seen about this? There's a new thing about the salts we have, magnesium salts. If we drink a ton of water without adding salts and proper aspects to it, our body doesn't absorb nutrients. Do you subscribe to this? Have you seen it? What data is out there on that?
There's element in my water right now.
Every morning, the very first thing in the 8 ounces I do is I use element in
Great.
my water. So it's supposed to promote energy and different things, and it makes me speak much quicker. I'm just joking. I speak quick anyway. Have you
For
ever
anybody who
done,
doesn't know what that is, it's an electrolyte pack. So it adds sodium, magnesium, potassium, calcium to your water. So if you do, yes, if you're drinking tons of water and you're not getting those important electrolytes, it's hard for your body to hold on to that water, which is the whole point of drinking water, right? So Element or Ultima, ULTIMA are good. It's the reason we drink Gatorade when we play sports, for the electrolytes. So it's just a way to get the electrolytes without the sugar or the dye.
it does taste like salt. I met the founder of Element 3 years ago at Abundance 360, and it was new. It's like, this tastes like crap. It tastes like salt. But we found out the benefits are huge. And
Was it
like,
Rob? Who'd you meet?
What's that?
Was it Rob? Is that who you met?
Yeah, met him, founder of it. He brought it there, gave us all Element. We're like, oh, this tastes like salt. But we found it was phenomenal for you. And your taste buds change. This one, have you ever done a food quality ingredient assessment for our four-legged members, both dogs and cats? So that's probably a whole nother category here.
Yeah, we could do another hour on how to
Yeah,
feed dogs. The farmer's dog does a pretty good job. Just you can feed your dogs what you eat. If you're eating healthy, you can make their own food. But man, that grain dog food that's just pebbles. What if
well, and
we?
there's we have Froms over here. There's great food, but they are making it with real food. I think the closer you can get to real food with without the processes. Maybe we'll hit that one another time. The last one is this. This is a really good one because it's a last one. But if no assessment, do you have a resource to go to? So if we haven't talked about this, where do we go to look at this? Like, there's the one that you can look at for ingredients in makeup and stuff like that. My wife uses it all the time and my family does, but
The Environmental Working Group app.
yeah, you do. Yep.
Yep. So the EWG has a wonderful app called Healthy Living, EWG Healthy Living app. You can scan all the products in your home, cleaning products, beauty products. They do some foods, they do laundry detergent. And then for food, I like the Yuka app, YUKA. It's not 100% great. Like, it tells me that my 100% grass-fed Chomps beef jerky sticks are bad because they're high in fat, but it's healthy fat. So it does make some quirky mistakes like that, but for processed foods and things that come in a bag or a box, it does a great job assessing the chemicals. So it's Yuka, YUKA.
Is there any other big trend happening right now that people are getting all hyped up about that you go, that makes sense or doesn't make sense? I mean, because I know that fat is very healthy for you. In many cases, most people don't, but your brain is made of fat. So actually having a quarter to a third fat in your diet is not horrible when it's good fat. Is that right?
Yeah, if not more. The carnivore diet, we're really watching that closely. Got a lot of friends and clients that are using that to help with autoimmune conditions, lose fat, drop their triglycerides. I watched a policeman drop his triglycerides 300 points using the carnivore diet, and that's completely ass backwards from anything that we've ever been taught before, that meat's going to lower your cholesterol or your triglycerides.
You should start the ass backwards diet. It'd just be kind of fun to say. And coin it as yours. There you go. That's your IP. You keep it.
That's me.
But I just want to say thank you tremendously. Thank you for the fire at the end here, which is quick. We answered 14 more questions than we've ever had about this. This has really hit home. And there's some great swaps on here. I did my toothpaste about 4, 5, 6 years ago, and it sucked. We didn't have the toothpaste we have now, but that does make a huge difference as well. So that's super, super helpful. And bringing you on as an expert, you are like rapid fire on this stuff, but you simplify our lives because we've got other things to concentrate on. And we appreciate that with you. And just so you know that even though there's 64 people, you've changed lives by just doing this. Somebody won't reach out and say thank you, but just because we don't have time. But it really makes a huge difference because we're so busy with what we do. We forget to do this and we're tired when we go to the store. Well, that one's on the middle shelf. I think a lot of the points too is the best products for you are often on the top and bottom shelf or in a separate section, not in the main area you walk into, correct?
That's right. Yeah. We really have to seek it out, literally looking at the ingredient list or in the grocery store, finding the section with all the healthy stuff. It's not easy. I get that completely.
Yeah, I know. Thomas, you're big on health as well. Do you want to close us down? I mean, I really thank you tremendous today. It's awesome.
Thank you, Chris.
Yeah, I would, I'd give one shameless plug here too. There's a really good book out there right now. It's called Good Energy, by Casey Means. Michelle, I'm guessing you're a huge Casey Means fan.
I am. Yeah. A little girl crush there.
Yeah. So check that book out if you haven't. It's called Good Energy. I did have one kind of maybe this can be a wrapping up question. Because I think I wasn't like a doubter or a hater of this stuff, but I think I was more of like devil's advocate. And in my belief, my thought behind it was like, our genetics make up the majority of our lives. Are we going to be healthy? Are we not going to be healthy? If my family had a history of strokes or high cholesterol or high blood pressure, like I'm just kind of doomed for that, or cancer, all of these different metabolic diseases. I'm coming around on that now. I feel like, so speaking about that book, Good Energy, I feel like I have an involuntary book club with my fiance every night because she's just like rapid fire. She just loves
Love
it.
it. I love it.
So maybe talk about that, because I think for me that was like super eye-opening. Like, we actually have a choice in how healthy we can be. And it's not, if your family has a history of obesity, that doesn't mean you're doomed to be obese. Or if your family had a history of stroke, that doesn't mean you're automatically doomed to have a stroke. So how much of our lifestyle dictates our life and our health versus how much do our genetics dictate our life and our health?
Yeah, thank you for bringing this up, because this is something that everybody should understand. I forget who said it. I think Dr. Esselstyn, but said your genetics load the gun and your lifestyle pulls the trigger. So it's this concept of epigenetics that Duke University started studying back in 2000. But this idea that just because you have the gene for X, that does not mean that that gene is going to become expressed. Your lifestyle determines whether or not that gene becomes expressed. So maybe you have the breast cancer gene, maybe you have the heart disease gene, maybe you have the high blood pressure gene, whatever it is that you feel like, oh, my grandma had it, my mom had it, I'm doomed. That is not true. That is absolutely light switch. That gene can stay turned off your whole life. And you can go your whole life with the breast cancer gene, but it never gets turned on because you took care of yourself. You drank the water, you exercised, you managed your stress, and you ate right. Okay? And it's not 100% correct. You don't have to be 100% in to keep that light switch off. I talk about the 80-20 rule. 80% of the time, we're doing the things we need to do. 20% of the time, we drink the beer and eat the cake. Okay? Your body's an incredible machine, and it can stay in balance as long as those numbers don't become 50-50, 60-40 the wrong way. So that's the concept of epigenetics. Your genetics load the gun, your lifestyle pulls the trigger. The gun can stay loaded and the gun can stay not, that trigger can stay not touched your whole life. But you have to make the right, we got to get the chemicals out of the food, the chemicals out of your skin beauty products, stop sucking them in with your Glade plugins, and you're going to be just fine.
I know Dr. David Sinclair as well, when we were at a couple of programs with him, has said that 90% of your of who you are is your exosome. That's outside of your chromosome. So he believes that gene expression is only 8 to 10% of it. Also, Dr. Bruce Lipton says you can literally change your genetics and its expression by your environment and your thoughts. So
Yeah.
there's some huge research out there that seemed crazy when it came out, and now they're becoming vaunted experts because it's true. So Thomas, you're right on with that, and I appreciate that. No, you're right on. You guys are more experts than I am, but it's interesting. I keep hearing more and more of this as well. So thank you for that. That's a great question.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Michelle. Appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys so much for being here. This was fun.
Michelle, you're literally changing our lives. So we appreciate that in our existence. I mean, this is a huge thing. So you got to understand that. I had 7 thank yous after I said, people may not reach out and thank you. So just so you know, people on this web are paying attention. We're going to pass this, and the waves and ripples that come out from this are going to be changed by families. So when you change 48 families, you're changing the 4 or 5 people we're responsible for as well. So it's huge. So thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you so much. That was really kind.
Absolutely. Thank you as well. Well, thank you very much. We dedicate ourselves to you, and also bringing you programs like this with Michelle, programs with Less on Your Mind. There's a couple coming up that we're going to look at as far as how can we, continue to create and maintain our sanity and thoughts, if you will, as we age. So some things that you express to us that are very important, we'll bring together. We want to bring you the best resources available for it. So we thank you for tuning in. Thank you for letting us serve you. These teams that from ourselves, from Adams Wealth Partners, from we love as well from Tim Up and Freeze Financial, and ourselves here at Gentian. Thank you for being and trusting us, and thank you for being our clients. With that, have a great rest of your warm or cold day wherever you are in the U.S.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Any opinions are those of myself and not necessarily those of Raymond James. Expressions of opinion are as of this date and are subject to change without notice. The information contained in these podcasts do not purport to be a complete description of the securities market or developments referred to in this material. The information has been obtained from sources considered to be reliable, but we do not guarantee that the foregoing material is accurate or complete. Every investor situation is unique, and you should consider your investment goals, risk tolerance, and time horizon before making any investment. Prior to making an investment decision, please consult with your financial advisor about your individual situation. Any hypothetical examples are for illustration purposes only. Actual investor results will vary. Raymond James does not provide legal or tax services. Please discuss these matters with the appropriate professional.